Masturbation. Let's just get the uncomfortable word out of the way. Because if you're anything like most women, that word probably comes with at least a little bit of baggage. But here's what surprised me. When I was digging into the research for this episode, the more I dug, the more I realized that this isn't really a conversation about masturbation, even though it's in the title. It's a conversation about one of the most overlooked ways that women can reconnect with their own bodies. See, according to the research, this one practice may help with sleep disruption, mood swings, fatigue, body awareness, sexual confidence, your relationship with pleasure, your relationship with a partner, and even some of the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause. And it doesn't require a prescription. It doesn't require a partner. It doesn't require expensive equipment. It doesn't even require an orgasm for women to report feeling some of its benefits, which made me wonder, why wasn't my doctor talking about this before we started talking about hormone replacement therapy, for example? Why is something this natural still treated like something we're supposed to hide? And what else have we gotten completely wrong about it? Now, by the end of today's conversation, I don't actually want you thinking differently only about masturbation. I want you thinking differently about your own body. Let's talk about it. Okay, so Barbara, masturbation.
Okay, I need to time out. First of all, I need to discuss just the word. I know we're using the word for the title because it's like we all understand and know what that word means collectively. But if you are anything like me and you hear the word and you cringe, it's not an accident. That fucking word makes me cringe. It makes me actually not want to masturbate, which when I went to go do my research and look up the etymology of the word, I found that it means to touch yourself with shame, which of course, that's what the patriarchy didn't want us to do. It didn't want us to have our own pleasure and seek it from ourselves. It wanted us dependent on those outside of us, and it wanted us to make us wrong for masturbating. So I used to have this huge relationship with the word, like, ugh, I hate this fucking word, but like, I want to do the thing. And it created all of this confusion. So if that is something that happens for you, switch the word from masturbation to self pleasure and see how that feels. Cause that actually really changed my life and made it took out so much shame because words have energy. So, yes, for the sake of the podcast, we're using the word masturbation, but I use self pleasure. It's changed my life and it just feels so much better and it feels congruent to what I'm actually doing.
Yeah, totally. I'm so glad you brought that up because I also was going to bring it up. I also looked up the etymology of the word. I also had an issue with the word. I've always thought it just, it's got a lot of baggage associated with it. And the definition I found was very similar. It was like to defile by hand,
Yeah.
um, which is like something that entered the lexicon, during like those moral campaigns of the 18th, 19th century. The point is, it wasn't like a neutral word that accidentally became embarrassing later. It was actually like built into the word itself, right? So shame
Yeah.
was built into it. That's part of the reason why this conversation isn't being had all the time. And it and it and I love replacing it with self-pleasure, because not just because we need a different word or because masturbation is some forbidden word, but because like self pleasure actually describes what the practice can actually be, right? Like it's not defilement, it's not something shameful, it's not something that you get away with, it's something you give yourself. And that's really the undercurrent of this whole topic, right? Is bringing it all back to pleasure. Which leads me to what was going to be my first question for you, which is like, when did you realize that this was something women or anyone really wasn't actually allowed to talk about? Like,
Oh, very early on.
yeah,
I don't remember when, but it was like teenage years. Nobody talked about it. Like
yeah,
even when my friends and I became sexually active and sex was like very much prevalent in like not childhood, but like teenage years. And no one was saying like, I'm going to go home and masturbate. I'm going to go home and play with myself. Nobody talks about it. You'd hear guys saying, I'm going to jerk off. Like, that's also the double standard. It's okay for them to do that, and it's actually encouraged. But
Yeah.
it's the best way to have safe sex when you're a teenager. Best way.
So true. So true. And you're right. And nobody talked about it. And I remember thinking about this and in prepping for this episode, I was like, why are we so uncomfortable talking about it? And we already covered the fact that there's shame built into the word itself and that that was intentional. So that's like reason number one. But then I was like, well, why should we care, right? Like if this is just a private sexual habit which has no large effect on a person's life or sex life or overall health, and maybe the silence around it doesn't really matter, right? But that's not what the research suggests, right? Because one of the simplest and most accessible ways that a woman can reconnect with her body that may also support her mood, her sleep, her energy, her sexual confidence, her ability to understand what actually feels good for her. Like that is what this thing is. And still somehow almost nobody's presenting it to us that way. Right. Which I think is crazy and is how I want to start off this conversation by actually sharing with you why we're talking about masturbation or self pleasure, which is our word of preference. Um, like why should you actually care? Why is this a conversation worth having? And I'm going to start by sharing a really recent study. This was 2024, conducted by the Kinsey Institute, and they were looking at self-pleasure among perimenopausal and postmenopausal women. And what they found was women in the study reported that regular self pleasure helped ease mood swings, helped ease the sleep disruption, the fatigue, the stress, and some of the other symptoms that are really common. And what was really interesting was that the women reported relief even if they did not orgasm. So it was the practice itself, whether or not it ended in climax. And the reason why that is so important is because it's not just about being able to orgasm. What happens when a woman gives her body sustained, pleasurable attention, right? And so my next question for you is, did anyone ever frame self-pleasure that way for you? Like, did anyone ever say,
Hell no. Hell
yeah,
no. Hell no. And I also want to put in, because there is a sector of women, okay, whether you're going through menopause or you're still menstruating, right? Like for me, and you could be perimenopausal in 40s or you could still be menstruating. I know women who went through perimenopause in their 40s, early, even late 30s, or women who had their period till their 60s, right? So
yeah,
everyone's different. Everyone's on their own timeline. It's neither bad or good, but it's also true for when you are menstruating. The same thing that you're talking about. I don't have the stats right now. I didn't do it, but I know that personally. And it's like you don't need to take Midol. You don't need to take like all of the things like when you're having awful cramps. Like I always had terrible, terrible. Like I went on the pill because of my terrible periods and the doctor wanted to keep me on forever.
yeah,
And I was like, I don't understand. Like what like this is the band-aid. And then once I started was like, fuck this, I'm getting off. Like I don't care. Like it's my body. But I was already had a regular self-pleasure practice and it does wonders. And the reason really is, and this is the thing, is that when you do spend time doing it, whether you're like orgasm is not the goal. The goal is for it to be self-pleasure and it's about increasing the feel-good hormones, the oxytocin, the endorphins, and simultaneously what happens is it reduces stress. So, and it's like magic. It's free, it's easy, you can do it anywhere, and it doesn't matter whether you're menstruating or a perimenopause, menopause. This is something that can bring you that biological, delicious, feel good cocktail if you are practicing it regularly.
yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is Masturbation is framed as sexual release, right?
Right.
Self pleasure, and this is again one of the reasons why the language matters, is more about caring for your body, connecting with your body, being comfortable with your body, knowing it's about relationship with your body ultimately, right? It's a whole different container and a whole different world of possibility. And I want to be careful here because I don't want anyone listening to this to take something pleasurable and immediately turn it into another health optimization project. Okay, we're not saying, great, now go masturbate as one more thing you're supposed to fit into your morning routine because it's got benefits, right? Like the benefits do matter and they are real. And we're going to share even more of the research that confirms this. But the important thing is that they're helping us understand that this isn't just a frivolous or dangerous or irrelevant or dirty thing to do,
Yes.
right? It's a deeper invitation not to perform another wellness task, but to really have a relationship with your body. And it's a practice that's accessible to everyone, right? So then the question is, if it is accessible to everyone, why do so few of us hear about it? Um, and there's data to back this up. So again, another 2024 really recent study revealed this huge gap in the conversation. And the gap is 91% of the women surveyed said that they would self-pleasure more often for symptom relief if a doctor recommended it, right? Like if your doctor said, oh, Barbara, you have these terrible cramps. Instead of putting you on the pill, what I want you to do is self pleasure daily. Orgasm isn't the point. It's about connection with your
Mm.
body. Breathe slowly, like gave you some guidance around how to connect with yourself this way. 91% of women would be like, absolutely, I'm on board, regardless of other shit. But only 3% have ever had a doctor that actually had that conversation with them.
That's just
3%,
wild. It's fucking
which
wild. It's fucking
absolutely.
wild. It's fucking wild.
So this isn't just a knowledge gap. This is silence. And I'm curious what your thoughts are. I have some of my own theories about why this never makes it into ordinary conversation between a woman and her doctor, right? Like why aren't we at least in that context comfortable discussing this?
Ugh, it just makes me so angry. I think honestly, the whole medical field is at the end of the day run by men. You know, women's pleasure is never, ever, ever like put at the forefront. They don't even study the clitoris. Like there's really so little information on it because do you know why? It's the one part of the body that never needs healing. And so they don't like that's how amazing the clitoris is. And they're like, okay, we're just going to ignore it instead of like, there's real optimization there. A part of the body that just gets better and better and better is like, ooh, I just was like, okay, everyone just like, I'm so grateful for this part of my body. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a gift, what a treasure to be born with one. Yeah, I just think it's the way the medical system has been structured. You know, back in the day, we were burned as witches when we were medicine women.
Yeah.
And
Well, and actually speaking of burning witches, one of the things they looked for to prove you were a witch was they looked for a clitoris. And if you had one, you were considered a witch. Did you know that?
oh, that's crazy.
So yeah, that was part of the process. But that's a whole thing. We don't need to digress into the witch trials.
Mm.
But I think what you're saying is so true that in general, women's sexual health is under discussed, right? I think also it's fair to say that in the West in particular, like the allopathic medical system that we live in is really focused on diagnosing pathology and prescribing,
Correct.
either medication or surgical intervention to deal with it. So doctors are sort of set up to ignore anything that is like a natural thing you do. It's just not part of their training. I also think that some people are just not comfortable talking about sexual topics, doctors included. They are human beings. Patients are uncomfortable asking. So not to point any one finger on just one person. I think we all play a part in it. But the fact is, we're bringing this conversation to you because it's so important and it needs to be had,
Well,
right?
the most important thing too is let's remember this is free. You can do this on your own. There's no profit for pharmaceutical companies or doctors. Like for me to stay on the pill for the rest of my life, there is a benefit. There's a financial benefit. There is
Yeah.
no financial benefit to say, hey, before we get you on any medication, why don't you try this free method that's also going to have dual like benefit where it's free, easy to do, and it's just going to bring you feel good. It's like going to the gym, like oxytocin, endorphins, but you don't have to go to the gym.
Yeah.
So, like, you can do it alone. You don't need anyone else. Like, what it's the easiest free, like, you don't, it's like the best, easiest free thing to do.
I
Right?
know. I
And
know.
it's
But
like, of course they're gonna it doesn't there's no financial gain. There's 0. Like, me and Marta make 0 money if you all listen to this and are like, "Wait, hey, why don't I just self-pleasure afterwards?" Like, we don't, but we hope you will,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Because it will make all of us better humans. Like that's the truth. The
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
pleasure we have, the more comfortable we are with our bodies, the more in tune we are with our bodies, the more capacity we have to deal with all the shit that life hands us and to show up as our best self. So that's why we're talking about this. And I don't think we can discount how much shame has been built into this topic and this word. That's why we started off the episode talking about like the etymology of the word itself. I think it also is part of the answer to my question about why aren't doctors talking about it. Like, if you grew up in a culture where your religion, your parents, your family joked about it or said things about it like, oh, you're going to go blind if you masturbate, or you're going to have hairy palms, like there are all these myths around it, right, that are told to us when we are children. Then even if you grow up to be the most evidence-based physician in the world who went through the best training, that conditioning still lives there. It lives in all of us, is my point. And this conversation is part of how we want to like extract that and change it for you. And it becomes especially important in midlife because that's the time when like a lot of what was working for us as women stops working, right? Like desire starts to shift, sensitivity starts to shift, orgasmic capacity starts to shift because of hormonal fluctuations and things that are naturally happening as we transition into menopause. And once again, the data says this is why for midlife women this is particularly unique. So, a 2025 Kinsey Institute study that surveyed about 1,500 women between the ages of 40 and 65 found that our likelihood of achieving orgasm during self pleasure doesn't really change across the menopause transition. Like it stays the same. So, our bodies don't lose their capacity for any of it. But postmenopausal women tend to engage in self pleasure less often and rate it as less personally important. And my takeaway here is that our ability does not disappear. Our bodies don't quit or give up, right? Like we talked about it in our last episode. Your pussy doesn't go extinct. It doesn't go die just because you're hitting menopause. But our attention has, right? Like we are prioritizing it less. We are, by this point, we have habits that are long standing. So I'm curious if that feels true for you, Barbara. Like, does it feel true for you that what changes isn't always a woman's body during this time of life, during midlife, but the amount of attention that she gives to it?
I think yes in both. Like, I think that look, on a cellular level, our bodies are always changing. Like it's always, always life is
Yeah.
moving or we're always changing. And I think either you're going to be conscious for the changes and like notice them and just be like, this is just part of life and not make it into a thing, not make it wrong. Or and because some of the changes are even better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like, if bad or good, like, like the changes in my body are just like got better. But like, if you don't have awareness and attention, it's going to create further disconnect.
Yeah.
So then it's kind of like, pleasure responds to attention.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, I can. I can speak from personal experience as someone who discovered the benefits of self-pleasure like at age 4 or 5, like really young, and had a self-pleasure practice throughout my life. And I think somewhere as I started to approach midlife, that started to shift dramatically. Now, there's a million, not a million, there's a whole bunch of factors. Some of it are the hormonal shifts. Some of it is what was happening in my marriage at the time, in my like one sexual relationship, right? Some of it was around my own sense of aliveness and how that had, like just sort of flattened out. Some of this you've heard in other episodes if you've been listening to the show for a while. The point is that I went from being a very, someone who was in a very good relationship with my body, who paid attention, who thought pleasure was a priority, to I let everything else become more important. The kids, the marriage, the business, the social life, the community obligations, right? Like all the things. And suddenly it became like I totally related to what was in the survey. This like, meh, I'm just not as interested anymore. It's just not as much fun anymore. Like I need to buy a new $200 vibrator for it to be interesting to me anymore, which is bullshit, right? That's not true. So, and I hear women every day. I get at least one message from some woman who has a similar story, who's like, I used to have a great self-pleasure practice and now I'm just like, meh, like it's not working for me anymore. And so what I want you to hear, if that's you, your body's not broken. It didn't stop working. You probably stopped being you probably stop giving yourself permission to keep paying attention to it. And that's what this whole episode is about, right? These are the vegetables we're sneaking in with the potato chips here, is that actually this isn't about getting off or orgasm or whatever. It's about the attention you're paying to your own body and your own pleasure over time. And your body's worth paying attention to. Like that is the core message here, right? So if attention is what gets lost as we get older, as we get busier, as we have more responsibilities, what does getting it back actually offer?
I mean, it's there, like the benefits are, you talked about it in the beginning, where it's like, I mean, first and foremost, you get to have that experience of the oxytocin, the feel good cocktail, right?
Yeah.
um you get to have this like reverence for your body. You get to be like, there's more sovereignty over your body. Like deeper, this is like what I consider when people are like self-love. Yeah, the spa is awesome and all of that stuff, but this is real self-love. It's integration of the self, it's wholeness, because you're no longer abandoning this major part of you that allows you to have like high vibrational experiences of the utmost level. There's creativity that is untapped, that is available to you, relationships with other humans. I mean, you're
Yes.
flirting more, you're feeling yourself more. Um, and I mean, you're turned on more. If you're in a partnered relationship, sex gets a lot better, a lot more dynamic.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, it's endless, right? And it's
Yeah,
like
it's huge.
you become unlimited in what's possible for you. You're definitely more bold and brave in other areas of your life, and it's major healing. Like, a lot of people talk about healing, healing, and it's like this healing loop. Like they're always in this fucking healing loop. No shade, okay? Because I was big on that too. And then I stumbled upon pleasure. And pleasure to me, like, okay, the pleasure like that your body is capable of is a pain relief experience. This is what
Oh
we're
yeah.
talking about when it comes to, like, your body was made to support its own healing, right? So instead of saying, like, a lot of times, like when you are dealing with trauma, you have to be really careful, because I am trauma informed, and it's like when you're constantly in these healing loops and you're focusing on the healing and healing, like you stay in that healing cycle, and it's like, okay, is this ever gonna fucking end? I want to feel good, I want to
Yeah.
get out of it. And it's like pleasure actually allows you to heal the trauma and feel good. Have
Yeah.
it be fun, right?
Yeah.
Like one of
The
the
best of both worlds. Yeah.
yeah, like one of the fastest way to heal sexual trauma, and I know it sounds crazy, but I've seen it time and time again for myself, for clients, is actually allowing in more self-pleasure.
Yeah.
That is how you do heal the shame, how you do heal the sexual trauma. It's like a mind fuck, but like I forgot that it's like called expersion therapy. I forgot the name of it. I'll find it like for the next episode. We can link it in the thing. But it's like this is the fastest way and the easiest way and the most fun way.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I think it's true to say that every relationship grows where you put attention, right? That includes a relationship with your own body. So I think everything you were just saying, like we already covered hormonal benefits and symptom benefits, but the self pleasure as body literacy piece, it cannot be understated, right? Like think about what you learn when you spend time with yourself, exploring that part of your body, figuring out what kind of pressure feels good. What rhythms does my body respond to? How much time do I need? What fantasies activate me? What doesn't feel good anymore that I used to really like? What feels different now than it did 10 years ago? What are my boundaries? Like what helps me stay present? What makes me disconnect? So you get all of this information within that experience. So it allows you to explore without needing to perform for someone else, without needing to manage someone else's experience, without wondering, do I look okay? Can he see my muffin top or whatever, right? Or without rushing to a particular result because someone's waiting for you. So there's so much goodness to be mined here. And ultimately, what Barbara, you just said, and it feels good as like the cherry on top or the foundation, if you want to flip it, like is just huge. Um, and
Well,
if you aren't doing that, think about it this way: you're spending years asking someone else, your partner, to discover the body that you've barely discovered yourself. Like, that's not going to go well.
yeah, it's like you have to know your own machinery, your own operating system in order to show somebody else how to use the operating system, right? It's the goddess operating system.
Yeah.
Get really clear on your goddess operating system because women, we are way different than men. And unfortunately, a lot of us were conditioned to think about our sexuality as masculine sexuality. So, another benefit is when you do take time to do that, you slow down.
Yeah.
It starts to get you into balance because it's like we have these busy lives. We're all running around, we're doing all the things, and you start to sink into the speed of pussy. That is quite frankly one of the biggest benefits I've personally had because the speed of pussy is fascinating. It's slowing down and then all of a sudden everything in your life starts to go faster. It's crazy. It's not that like rushed hustle, like, oh my God, I got to get it all done. It's the like, I'm going to take my time and you get connected to like the feminine of the movement of the and it's not something that can be explained, but you know it when you feel it. And that slow down, when you move that way, you really understand what time is in your body and how to move. And things start to naturally just get better. You become more patient with life, more patient with the people around you. You start to be able to like get more pleasure in daily things in your life because you're in the slowdown, you are more present and connected to what's happening in your body. And then your senses are more alive. And like the moments become like you can lock them in. They're like memories, right? Like of what it's not like, oh my God, I forgot what happened today because you were so busy. You're like, I really lived today. I got the most out of today because of the slowdown. The slowdown is everything. It makes a huge difference. And then also, it's like one of the other things I tell clients all the time is be your own best lover. So it
Absolutely.
allows you to be your own best lover. And that makes a huge difference in the bedroom because a lot of times women, when they don't like something their partner is doing in the act, they can get mean. They can get angry, or they can get just like turned off and shut down and numbed out because they don't actually know what would be better. They're just like, I know I don't like this, like stop, get off, or like whatever. And then it happens so fast that they don't realize how hurtful it could be for their partner to hear something like that. And so that kills the mood. Or they go into the people pleasing mode of letting their partner do the thing that's like not feeling good because they're too afraid to say the thing. But then
To-
option three is when you are your own best lover, it's very easy because you're in the slow down. You're realizing you're not thinking, oh, I don't like that. You're thinking, oh, it would be so much better if you could just slow down
Mhm.
and move a little bit to the left. Could you move a little bit to the left? I'd really love that. Right? It sounds so much different than like, oh, that's really hurting me. Can you stop? Like if he's doing this,
Yeah. Yes.
and
Yeah.
you're like, "What are you doing? Why are you poking at me?" And then he's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" Or she, whoever it is, right? And that's gonna turn into like a disaster. Or if you get into your head, right, when you're in your head, "Oh my God, I don't want to say the thing, I don't want to make them wrong." But when you're already in the experience of the pleasure is building and you can see the pathway of how to continue to build, you're gonna be
Yeah.
like, the director of, like, the performance and just be like, "Yeah, slower, to the left, love it, feeling good, feeling better. Oh my god, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah."
Exactly. Yeah. And I gotta say, 99% of the time, like I think I can only think of one exception when a woman comes to me and she says something along the lines of my sex drive seems to be non-existent, or I really love my husband, but I don't really want to have sex with him anymore, where there's some disconnect in the bedroom. 99% of the time when I ask her about her self-pleasure practice, she doesn't fucking have one. Or best case scenario, she's got a reliable go-to vibrator that's like her quick way to get off. And there's nothing wrong with having a quick way to get off, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about a quick orgasm. We're talking about spending time in relationship with your body, which, as you were just saying, there's slowness, there's attention, there's not a rush to a thing. So it's a different kind of experience. And like I said, 99% of the time that's not happening, and it's the missing piece. Um so let's spend a few minutes busting some myths, because A, that's become a really popular segment in our episodes. And B, I think there's a lot of fucking myths around this. So let's bust the five that come up the most, shall we? All right. Myth number one. Speaking of vibrators, using a vibrator will desensitize you or ruin partnered sex. True or false? Using a vibrator will desensitize you or ruin partnered sex.
Well, first of all, it depends on where you are in your sexual evolution. It's false, not permanently, but if you have not done the work without the vibrator, you're going to skip over because vibrators help chase the orgasm. Is that wrong? Is that bad? No. Vibrators are like, how can I get there faster? What we're talking about really is slow sex, going at the speed of pussy. So it's not about how can you come and orgasm faster? It's a
Yeah.
different type of orgasms. We can do an episode that's also like, let's put a pin on that, of doing different type of orgasms. You can't even get to different type of orgasms if you're going into one orgasm and it's a rush to get to the finish line. That is one of the things, if you could take away from this, please hear this. Like one of the things I tell clients all the time when I start and I do the intake of like, what's your self pleasure practice like? And they tell me that they have a vibrator. I'm like, great. I want you to put it into a shoebox somewhere back of the closet where you cannot access it in case you're really turned on, because that's going to force you to do it in the way that I am talking about. Because it's not that vibrators are bad or good, they're an enhancement. Definitely like do your thing. But the better question is, are they helping you deepen your relationship with yourself? Or
Yeah.
are they helping you skip over like everything else does? Are they making you focus out on the finish line versus being present in the moment? Because every stroke can be orgasmic, but
Yes.
it's a practice. It is like even this, like I can like even right now, just like that. And every woman has the ability to do that and have that experience in real time without even stroking her pussy, but from practicing that. A vibrator can be a beautiful tool, but if it's the only tool
Yeah.
the language of your body speaks, you may be missing medicine of the slowing down.
Totally. Yeah.
So, hands-on hands-only self-pleasure teaches you to feel more, to listen more, to be more connected to yourself, to be more connected to what your pussy desires, to become more present, and also that's where shame begins to dissolve. Not because you reached orgasm, but because you stayed with yourself. You have and you've really locked in what it is, not to abandon yourself. It's almost like it's an innocent experience. It is not this like sexual, like porn kind of experience. It is
Yeah.
like a very innocent and yeah, like natural and
Loving.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, loving and it's spiritual and it really
Yeah.
is where you do get actually a lot of healing.
Yeah. And just to be absolutely explicit for someone who's like, wait, but did you say explicitly? There is no credible evidence, and I did a ton of research. There's no
No,
credible evidence I could find that vibrator use permanently desensitizes your body or destroys a woman's ability to enjoy partnered sex. It is not that is not the problem. The only issue with vibrators that are worth noting is that it can make you accustomed to a very specific intensity, pressure, or rhythm leading to
yeah,
orgasm. And we don't want just one pattern. We want like the whole fucking buffet. I don't want to only have chicken for the rest of my life, right?
right,
I want
right,
to
right.
try all the things. So that's it. Okay, myth number 2. Penetration alone should be enough for you to be happy, satisfied, orgasmic. Just penetration alone
My
should be enough. Fact or
God.
fiction?
Oh my God.
It's hard to ask that with a
Lies,
straight face.
lies. I know it's so absurd. Like, because most women don't. The majority need direct or indirect clitoral stimulation to orgasm, and that's completely the norm.
Yeah. So you are in the majority if you do not orgasm from penetration alone. Okay. Not the minority, the fucking majority, no matter what the media will have you believe or porn will have you believe. That's not how it actually works. Um, and we did a whole episode on the clitoris where we explained and showed you with a little puppet model diagram its actual structure. I point that out because if you haven't listened to that episode, you might want to go back. You'll get a real eye-opening education, and also it will enlighten you to the fact that the clitoris actually extends internally. So there is some stimulation of the clitoris through penetration. It's just indirect. And for most women, it's not enough to actually experience climax. So there's nothing wrong with you. Myth number 3, masturbating in a happy relationship means something's wrong or missing. Fact or fiction?
Such a lie. I personally, from what I found for myself and from clients, is like it makes it better because the more you self-pleasure, the more you actually want to have sex. And the more it like opens the pathways up, everything between sex is foreplay. This is a way to take responsibility in your relationship for you so that you can get more in your turn on and feel like hotter and sexier and all of the things. So, I mean, add it in, add it in.
Yeah, for women, absolutely. If you're a man listening to this, the advice we're giving regarding this myth specifically has been researched for women. I actually don't know the answer to this question for men. I know that I've had clients share with me that like they feel that solo pleasure for their male partner is in competition with partner pleasure because men have a refractory period, and depending on your age, that might mean you can orgasm once a day, maybe twice a day, whatever your thing is. So, but for women who are not limited by that physiology specifically, the more the fucking merrier. Speaking for myself, like I have sex daily and I also have self-pleasure time daily, and both of those contribute to one another and to my overall insanely huge capacity for life. I brag.
Absolutely. It's also like they serve different purposes, right?
Yeah.
Because when you are bringing in a partner, there is like the two-way pleasure street of like I get to receive pleasure and I also get to give pleasure. It's like the giving receiving. Whereas there's, I mean, if we talked about it earlier on of like what are the benefits, like, you know, yeah, maybe a partner could help you when you're having cramps or you're going through perimenopause just to chill you out and like stroke you. Amazing. Great. But I don't even know if most people have that type of like, dynamic in their relationship. But here you have that option to do it with yourself and try it, right? And just see what that's like for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
One doesn't replace the other. That's the
No,
point.
they are not in competition. You're not mutually exclusive. Okay, and our final myth, number 4, this one I hear all the time and I'm like, "What? How is this a myth?" But it is, and that is masturbation harms fertility or disrupts hormone. Fact or fiction?
No, I mean that's I again, it's like like that is like sounds like a big pharma or like a religious concept that is totally absurd. That's like they don't want you to actually do that because again, like we talked about before, it is a free act that allows you to increase the feel good hormones like the oxytocin, like endorphins while reducing stress. Cortisol goes down, feeling better goes up.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah, totally.
natural, like, you know, Advil or like anything that you can take. So it's like
Yeah.
it makes no sense for like
Yeah.
I've never heard of a woman say, you know what, I was having these terrible cramps or like all of this stuff was happening in my body and I went to go self-pleasure and I feel so much worse.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, this is 100% part of the propaganda that makes masturbation an uncomfortable word for people. Like, honestly, the danger around masturbation, every myth you've ever heard, going blind, it causes your hair to fall out, it causes your palms to be hairy, it means you won't perform as well. All of those things are myths that are tied to the shame. It's all about that. Like 100%. There's not a shred of evidence that supports the claim that ordinary self pleasure will harm you in terms of your fertility, your hormonal balance, any kind of disruption of any of that. Just categorically false. So, no more. All right. So, just to land this plane, um, I want to be really clear that everything we've said here is not meant to shame or judge anybody or give them an extra homework assignment. We're not trying to add more stuff to your to-do list or to your biohacking, whatever optimization, okay? We're not trying to say that you need to masturbate more often. It's simply an invitation, right? To remember that your body deserves your attention and that curiosity is way healthier than shame, and that one of the simplest paths back to feeling alive may be available to you, may have been available to you all along. No obligation, but lots of availability. And the final thing I want to add, and Barbara, maybe you have something else to add too, is that if this kind of conversation is something that has like blown open your mind or made you see things differently, or you're like, I wish I could have conversations like this with women every day, come to the Sensual Sisterhood. We created that community for conversations like this to bust the myths, to give you the truth, to make sure that not only are you informed and educated about what your body like can do and what's possible, but also that you have a room of other women who are on this journey with you to cheer you on, to support you, to keep you accountable, to pick you up when you're on your knees, like all of that. So links in the show notes, come join us. Barbara, what would you add?
I like to add is that just like going back to what you're saying, it's not about adding something to the to-do list. It's totally like, it's actually the opposite of like, this is an opportunity for real expansion of finding ways to bring pleasure into your life as a natural pain reliever, depending on what is happening in your body. If you are someone who is turned on by that, then it's totally for you to go down that path, to research it, to allow it to bring on, if you bring it into your life. If you are turned off by the word masturbation, please try using the word self-pleasure. See how that feels in your body. That's what I use, self-pleasure. If you are um, thinking it's always about orgasm, it's not. It's not. It's so not about that. It's about having an incredible relationship with yourself, kindness and self-love. It really does evoke self-love. If you desire to deal with some of the shame that is beneath the word masturbation, this is another way. There is a lot of healing that's possible for you, and that actually will feel radically, incredibly delicious in your body. And yeah, it's an invitation, and only if it speaks to you, not because it's a have to. If it feels like it's stoking the flames of the desire of like, ooh, I never even thought about this, or like, wait a second, they're doing what? For what? They're using it for cramps? Oh my God. Yes, we are. And we can give you more information in the Sensual Sisterhood and go deeper and talk about different techniques that you can use on yourself, on your pussy, that feel really good and are free.
Great. So come play with us. Bring your questions, bring all the shame you want to get rid of. We're here for all of it. And thank you for joining us today. We'll be back again next week with another awesome episode for you. Until then, go get some pleasure.
Please.
Mwah.